Hello, this is Gray Hughes doing an update on the Hart family case. I was reading my comments on YouTube and a person named Jack Glass actually let me know that the Hart family was also known to have gone to Nassau, Washington before traveling south. And that throws a little bit of a wrinkle into the trajectory of the trip. It's a little strange actually. All right, so let me go to full screen here and I'm going to show you the location of Nassau, Washington. Now, I'm not sure if it's Nasselle or Nassau or if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's N-A-S-E-L-L-E, Washington. All right, so you guys all remember the Hart family was here in Woodland, Washington. Now, look where Nassau, Washington is, way up here. Okay, so the car actually drove, let's just go as the crow flies. I'll measure this really quick for you. And that is 61 miles. So it's probably more like 75, 80 with all the curves and everything. So they made it to Nassau, Washington. Just a small town. Now you have to ask yourself, why did they go there? We don't know. Was there a friend they wanted to visit? Or were they trying to fill like a bucket list of places they wanted to go to? All right, you've got Nassau, Washington. Now, if you look at this 401 right here, travels all the way down and gets to the Astoria Bridge right here. This is a really long bridge. This bridge right here is almost 4 miles long. It's actually kind of interesting to drive on it. Let's go to Street View so you can take a look at this. So look at that. It's a long bridge that connects Washington to Oregon on this side. All right, so they obviously drove south, which is behind us, so south this way. 401, they would go south this way, and then I would, if I was them, the route they would have taken would have been right here. So you go over the second bridge right here, and then you're on 101 basically. See, 101's right there, and then you can just travel south. And you go through different towns, Gearhart and so forth. But I would think that the cell phone would be pinging in all these locations. Like they should have a great understanding of their route at this point. And also something I wanted to mention was the FBI is involved. And they think it's possible that Devontae and Hannah are actually traveling. I find that hard to believe personally. I think they would be spotted. But it's also possible that they were put on one of those communes in the Northwest that are in these communities on the coast, and nobody ever goes to them except for the people that live on the communes. That's possible, and it seems like they actually hung out in those types of groups. Those individuals, the people that they hang out with, were just like that. All right, so let's say they were on 101 and they traveled south, and you passed a whole bunch of different towns here, Rockaway Beach, Tillamook, Pacific City, and they did stop in Newport right here, Newport, Oregon, and we do have that information. That's 101 again. And then they eventually went down to Southern California. Now I have some new information down here that the FBI provided. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I actually have some articles here. This one, the headline, pretty much says it all. It says, 2 missing Hart children could currently be traveling together. All right. Now, this article says, the FBI release is in black right here. It says, on March 26, 2018, at approximately 4:15 p.m., the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office and California Highway Patrol responded to a fatal traffic accident off Highway 1 north of Westport. So as we discussed before, Highway 101, you can divert off of it onto Highway 1, and that's where that cliff is that the Hart family went off of. 2 of the couple's children are currently unaccounted for, and their whereabouts remain unknown. The missing children could currently be traveling together and may have last been seen with their family members traveling in a brown 2003 Yukon XL SUV with tinted windows, which is the same vehicle that crashed. The names of the missing children are Devontae Hart, and they give you a URL right here, and Hannah Hart, and another URL right here. And they say Hannah's 16. I mean, that's crazy that even the FBI right now is still saying she's 16. Maybe she really is. She just looks so young. The FBI, Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, and California Highway Patrol are asking for assistance from anyone who has any knowledge of the whereabouts of these children, including sightings prior to the traffic accident. So they're calling it an accident, but I think that's just how you kind of have to refer to it. There's no way to refer to it saying, oh, the traffic intentional act. You know, you just don't say that. You just say traffic accident. The family may have traveled to or visited the following locations or campgrounds prior to the accident. So they list these right here. Now I actually put those on Google Earth, and there are these different campgrounds down here. So this is Fort Bragg, but they also had gone to Meckericher State Park. They went to perhaps Pinewood Campground. See, the thing is, I think their phone was pinging and it stopped in an area, and that's how the FBI knows this. So they think maybe they went to Surfwood Campground, Pinewood Campground, Cleone Campground. They also think they stopped at 10 Mile Beach right there. And I think that's about it in terms of the different ones. And also there's Russian Gulch down here. All right, now that's quite a bit south of Fort Bragg. So they actually made it all the way down here to Russian Gulch. So let's see how far that is south of Fort Bragg. Yeah, 7.5 miles, 7.26 miles about, as the crow flies. So let's say 8 miles they'd have to drive from Fort Bragg down to here. Then apparently they went back up. I'd love to have the dates for these different ping locations that they have. These are obviously ping derived locations. All right, and then the family drove up north eventually, and then apparently maybe turned around and came back, stopped the car here, and then drove off the cliff. All right, so I guess right now, this is the update I wanted to give everybody. I guess it's possible at this point that the children are still alive. The FBI thinks it's possible. I mean, I think everyone knows it's possible, right? I just find it hard to believe that nobody would have come forward yet if they were still alive and they were traveling together. Okay, I also found it strange that they traveled north up there in Washington. I figured that they would have gone from their Woodland, Washington, and just started heading straight south, basically. But they actually went up here first, then crossed that bridge. Maybe that was something that they wanted to do. Travel down 101. You know, maybe they were just crossing off a bucket list, you know, before they did the old Thelma and Louise moment. Although I'm starting to believe that Jennifer Hart was basically the, you know, controlled everybody, and Sarah was a little bit like an abused wife syndrome, and that Sarah actually, I hold her responsible for not really helping the kids and getting them out of that situation. But I feel like she was also being controlled a little bit. Because there's even one story that, if you guys remember, when I think it was Abigail came forward at school and said that she was hit over a bathtub by Jennifer, and Sarah took the hit for that one, you know, took the blame. Abigail actually said that Sarah put ointment on her bruises. You know, she tried to make her at least feel better. You know, I don't think Jennifer would have that in her. She's the one that did the beatings. Okay, so this is the update that I have for everybody, and I hope that gives a little bit more clarity. But for me, it actually opens up some more, a little more of a can of worms, if you will. It's like, wow, okay, so the FBI thinks they might still be alive, and they're looking for them. And I guess the last thing I did want to show you is that the FBI actually did make a profile image for both of them. So here's Hannah Hart. You know, he has a missing persons poster right there. It said, let's see, Hannah Hart is missing her 2 front teeth and may be wearing a retainer. All right, and then we also have one of Devontae. Same thing. Let's see what it says about him on this. Yeah, so it's going to have the same details. It just describes what happened. So, yes, the FBI actually has 2 missing person bulletins, posters that you can share and put out there. I'll put the links in the description. And I guess they're believing it's possible that they're still alive. And that's good news for them. I would love for them to be alive so that they can actually tell the story of what happened. But I think that's why it's more likely that they're not alive, because the Hart parents, especially Jennifer, wouldn't want the truth out there. She wants to be known as this really, new age family that was so great, just like all of her friends thought she was. Okay, so that's all I have for you this time. So until next time, everybody be safe out there.